So here's 5 things that I wish I knew before I opened my bar here in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And stay tuned for the last one, as it may surprise you. Let's get into it. So the first one is staffing. I didn't think staffing was going to be easy, but I didn't think it was going to be nearly as hard as it turned out to be. And by that I don't mean just finding people in general, but we had the idea that we would get promo girls to come in. These are girls who work in various bars in the industry, and now they're known to be very beautiful. Very beautiful girls work as promo girls because they can make good money that way. Now we thought we'd bring some of those in, as well as having some girls from the area to kind of show them the ropes, show them how to work in a lady bar. And then that would bring on a really good clientele because, again, with the beautiful women, we thought we'd have more people coming in and we'd have tons and tons of people coming in because we had so many beautiful women. And in some regards, that was true. We became known as the bar that had the most beautiful women in the boxing area. But that was kind of a double-edged sword because a lot of these girls didn't know how to work properly, especially in a lady bar, but also didn't have the work ethic that you need to work in these type of bars, or is that at least we wanted. These are different bars than what they're used to, and it's a different style of work than what they're accustomed to. And so this obviously caused some issues. Now the other thing was high turnover. Yes, promo girls would naturally lead to high turnover since they only agreed to work for you for a certain duration of time. But just in the bar industry in general, a lot of people move from bar to bar to bar or get out of the industry or just do something else entirely. You talk to any bar owner here in Thailand, and the high turnover rate is one of the biggest issues they have. There's a lot of money spent in hiring staff and finding staff to come and work in these bars. And so that was a bigger issue than I ever foresaw. Now, number 2 is going to be the cultural differences. Now, obviously, this is a different country, so there's going to be a lot of cultural differences when it comes to doing anything over here. But I didn't expect them to be as vast as what they turned out to be. Now, part of that is, when we were doing the renovations on the bar, things are done at their own pace here. They're not done with an expediency or with a schedule like in the West. They're done on their own time frame, and you just have to kind of adapt and learn to deal with it. Along with that is going to be the quality of work. I really had to babysit during the renovation process to make sure that things went smoothly. We had them cutting corners, just saying it was good enough, it'll do, it'll work, and things were going to look very, very poor if we left it like that. Now that might have been just the first contractor, but I found it throughout when I was working with anybody that you really have to keep an eye. They might not always look for what's the best quality, but rather what just can get it done and move on. And then also managing staff, people who work for you. The cultural differences there really played a big part in how you have to deal with your staff. You cannot expect people to have the same style of work ethic as we do in the West. Now, I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. It's just you have to act differently. You can't treat it the same as you do back in Canada or the Western world. Now, number 3 is going to be drinking. It's a lot different here than it is in the West. Yes, you're around alcohol all day here and in the West, but back home when I worked in a bar, you'd maybe have drinks after work, as it's illegal to drink on the job. But here, it's almost a requirement. Now you have customers coming in wanting to drink with you or buy you a drink. That's natural. You'll have other owners in the area coming in to want to buy you a drink. Again, okay. But you also, if it's a slow night, your staff is going to want to drink and they might buy you drinks. Or they might buy a bottle of Sangsum and everybody will split that. So it became a very common place to be drinking every day. And that may sound fun, but believe me, it's not. And there are ways to get around this. And obviously you can just say no. But again, when it's part of the way that your business makes money, it's not a good idea. The bar owners that would come into my bar and spend money, obviously were very helpful. They'd bring customers in, they'd be buying drinks for the whole bar. It was a really good thing for the bar to make money. You really have to be careful and be smart about your drinking habits when you run a bar here in Thailand. Now, number 4 is going to be the Thai law and a Thai partnership. Before I opened a bar here, I thought it was mandatory that you had a Thai partner. And now, while it is very recommended and very beneficial to have a Thai partner here to help you run your business, to help open a business, and to deal with the intricacies of Thai society, it's not necessarily a requirement. Now there are things that you need a Thai person to do. For instance, like a business and liquor license, you need to have in a Thai person's name. But there are workarounds that you can use to do these things without having to have a legal Thai partner. Now, obviously, if you've seen some of my past videos, you know that I had a Thai partner and we did run into some issues running the bar together. And that was nothing to do with losing money or losing the business, but merely having a different idea of how we wanted the bar to move forward in the future, how we wanted to build out that bar, and how we thought the best ways were for it to succeed. And that just came down to coming from a different standpoint and having a different understanding of what we wanted for the bar. And that's simple as just any partnership that could happen in, but that obviously did add some complications to running the business. But with that being said, I'm not allowed to hire anybody to work in a lady bar. Only a Thai person can hire somebody to work in these bars. And so obviously without her, I never would have opened and been profitable at all, because I needed her to hire those people to come. But of course, after this whole experience, I now know there are workarounds on how to hire people, how to staff your bars legally in Thailand. But that was something that going into this whole thing, I had no idea. And so I'm really glad that I had that Thai partner. Now, lastly, the number 5 one, and it's something I've actually talked about in the past, but that is the community aspect of owning a bar here in Thailand. One of the things I found running the bar was that you have to frequent the other bars in the area. You have to go and drink in other establishments, as it's seen as a very social thing. I would go to a friend's bar on occasion and drink there, and I actually had other owners in the area get upset with me that I never went to their bar, only hers. And so I ended up having to go around the whole area and drink in other bars. Not all the time, not every day, by no means every day. But this is another thing that kind of tied into the earlier point about drinking all the time, is you need to do that to form a connection with these other owners. Once I did that, they would then come to my bar, bring customers to my bar even, and come and drink in my bar and spend money and make my bar more money. So it was seen as kind of a mutual thing, a very community-driven aspect. But this is something that's so foreign from how we run businesses back in Canada. There's no way 2 bars that are side by side would go and drink at the other establishment, because they're seen as competitors. They don't want the other guy to succeed. They want those customers to come to them. So it's a very, very different mindset here than it is back in Canada. Now, if you are interested in learning how I open my own bar here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, there's a link in the description below for a free ebook that I wrote detailing the entire process. So those are my top 5 things that I wish I knew before opening a bar here in Chiang Mai, Thailand. If you have any questions at all, please leave a comment below. Cheers.